Hello everyone, this is VJose32 back again. This is What's on Deck. Before we get on with what's going on in Kickstarter and the world of playing cards, we do have a bit to talk about. In that, but there's a few things I need to talk about regarding my channel. I checked the calendar and tomorrow is September the 7th, which means it is the 5th anniversary of VJose32. Woo! And, well, let's see. There may or may not be something special going on tomorrow, so I guess you'll have to check it out. But as far as my channel is concerned, there is some stuff going on. Of course, starting next Saturday, September the 12th, I believe it is, will be The Vault. The Vault is a new series I'm going to be doing. I was inspired recently while I was going through all my boxes of cards to find what decks I wanted to sell. I was inspired to continue going through them and randomly pull out cool decks from 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago, and show you them. Every week I'll show you a different deck, and I will link it to my review of that deck. I just give you, some info on the deck, show it off a little bit, and maybe give you some new details that I've discovered about them since I did the review, because some of the reviews might be a little bit outdated and not as good as what I do now. But, I thought it'd just be a good idea to kind of go through my collection and show you some of the cool decks that you may or may not have seen, because there's a lot of videos on my channel, and I'm sure I have a lot of subscribers who haven't seen all of them, probably most of you, and a lot of newer subscribers who might not have seen some of my older decks. Excuse me. Also, I've added some new playlists to my channel. I added one for Gaffed and Gimmick decks, which you can check out. And there's a lot of Gaffed and Gimmick decks that I have apparently. And I added another one for card tricks and tutorials, and I have over 130 videos of that so far. There may or may not be more coming sometime in the future. And of course I have card classes, and I have one for the Vault for when I start doing those videos, and more. One other little tidbit, coming 1 week from today, next Sunday at 12 p.m. noon Central Time, I will be doing a live Q&A video, question and answer video, and there may be something else going on in that video. We'll find out more about that perhaps tomorrow. But it should be pretty cool. I've already gotten people giving me questions. I would prefer if people don't ask me what my favorite deck is, because when you have like thousands of decks like I have, well, okay, I have like 1,600 decks, 1,700 decks, whatever it is, it's hard to choose just one. But I will try to answer it the best possible way, since I've been asked already. Let's move on with what's going on Kickstarter. First of all, I thought I'd talk about these, just to get them out of the way. Pokey Dice games and gaming accessories. They got a logo of $55,000. They do have a deck of cards, which is bizarre. I don't even know much about the faces. What I do know is that this is what they got for the faces. I don't know how they're usable for games or cards or anything like that. What I also know is the prices are kind of outrageous. $10 will get you a single poker chip, and I don't know why anyone would want this poker chip, because from what I can tell, it's not anything special. There it is. $50 will get you a poker chip and a deck of dice playing cards, whatever playing cards is supposed to be, but that's that. So far in the last day or two since they've launched, they got absolutely zero backers and $0. I'm sure it's going to do very well. If that isn't bad enough, they also launched this, a second project on the same day, with a $150,000 goal. And again, zero backers. This one apparently for these poker dice, which are good for poker and blackjack apparently. And it's a noble idea, or an interesting idea. Apparently it's the world's only patented and trademarked set of poker dice. which is a shame because nobody's ever going to use them because this project is never going to fund. Oh wow, proudly invented in the United States of America. They should be so proud down south. They invented poker dice. The only problem is most of the tiers that I am seeing are for one poker chip. There's $10, $15, etc., etc. In order to get the dice, you have to spend $75 to get one set of dice and one poker chip. That seems like it's a little bit overpriced for a set of dice and a chip. Seems like a cash grab. The chances of these two projects funding are 0, just like what they're currently at. Moving along, we got freaky deaky playing cards from TightropeGamesSlick.com. Tightrope Games. It is currently 49% funded, 26 days to go. I'm sure it'll fund because it's only got a $1,500 goal, and that's nothing really. It's okay for what it is. I'm not overly fond of it myself. Personally, USBC did this a hell of a lot better with one of the previous decks, which was the I forget the name. It's on my channel. It was a bicycle branded. It was a Sideshow Freaks. Bicycle Sideshow Freaks. If you want a deck like this, go get the Bicycle Sideshow Freaks on their website. Hell of a lot better quality. Hell of a lot better artwork. A lot more usable. These cards are just, they don't cut the mustard, in my opinion. They're okay. If you want them, fine, go ahead, get them. But I would recommend, personally, the USPC Bicycle Sideshow Freaks deck. Moving along, we got Glyphs. Egyptian Glyphs. Playing cards from Emmanuel Valtierra. His original, or the last project he did was a Mayan themed deck. I forget the exact name. I should probably look that up. It was the Aztec Codex playing cards. And they are shipping right now. This one looks, again, just as nice. I think they have 4 decks in total in this series of ancient themed decks. It looks pretty good. I like them. I do recommend checking them out. And I look forward to seeing what else they come with. I'm guessing there's going to be an Asian themed one. They got to do that. This one is 93% funded, 27 days to go. Funding will not be a problem. Next up, Devastation from Jody Eklund. Second in his series of playing cards on Inventors. The first one was the Innovation, which has printed and is apparently in the process of fulfilling. Glad to see that. This one is already well funded and there's still 25 days to go. There's 2 different decks. There's a standard one here you can see in red and black. Really nice. I like them. And then there's a limited edition one that features foil on the cards, I believe. And definitely on the faces it looks like there's foil. There's also a limited edition one, numbered and sealed, 500 decks. Signature series. That will come in this special lever case, I believe. Add a signature card. I don't know, I could be wrong, but here you see the faces of the standard and limited edition. Basically, more or less the same, except one obviously has silver foil within it and looks very nice. Here we go. Beautiful artwork throughout. I do know some people are getting a little bit tired of this style of court card, and that's understandable. But I do like them. They're well done. And here's the faces. Very nice. And these are the Innovation playing cards you can add on as well if you missed out on that project. Very nice. Moving along, we got Ambit playing cards from Jason Nguyen. It is 13% funded, 25 days to go. Chances funding not very good. I don't know where he gets some of his figures. Apparently, if they hit $6,000 by the 20-day period, everyone will receive a free Ambit deck. I'm not even sure what Ambit means. But $6,000, that's only halfway to the funding goal. How can you afford to give out free decks when you haven't even funded? And even if you fund, That's just not a good financial management idea. Horrible idea. You cannot give out free decks when you don't have the funds to do it, and may not even fund. Apparently, if you pledge $80 or more, you get 2 free decks. Anywhere from $50 to $79, you get 1 free deck. And signatures, and I mean the back design is nice. I like that. I like the faces. The tuck case is okay for what it is. I don't understand this either. Limited edition, 700 decks, and then 300 gold editions that are going to have gold yielding. I don't know where or how or if USPC will allow this creator to do 1,000 deck print run, and I don't know if they will divide that up and do 300 gilded decks and 700 regular decks. I don't know if that's possible, and yet he's offering that. The back design, what is that? I don't know if this is the back design or what that is. Face card, oh, I see. That's what's on the face cards. On the faces of the cards, but it's very faded. It's almost begs the question why bother, but it's there. And not only that, B stock. You cannot get B stock with 1,000 deck print run. Last I checked, so I don't know. This one's got some questionable stuff. I don't understand it, and I don't agree with it. And they definitely need to talk to USPC and find out if all this is possible before actually going through with it. In the movie along, we got Ready Set Playing Cards from Chase Duncan, who has apparently decided to associate himself with Fury 11 under his name, first created Fury11.com. That to me is a no-no, because this is not being run by Fury11.com. Fury 11 is not promoting it. They're not involved with it, so he should not have anything to do with Fury 11 on his project page whatsoever. He also had Art of Play and apparently Dan of Dave listed on his bio, but he's removed that. Apparently he's done some work with Fury 11 in the past, but that does not mean he should be associated with their project. And as a result, it's my opinion, he's gotten $2,000 out of it that he doesn't deserve. And that if he did not have Fury11.com, he would not have had those $2,000. Why? Because this is all the artwork he's showing us. A back design, which is, it's okay. It's kind of simple. It looks like it was drawn by hand. Nothing overly wrong with it, but it's not overly glamorous. The tuck case is even less glamorous. It just got a bunch of pictures on there. Apparently, if you pledge a certain amount of money, apparently $200. If you pledge $200, you get 2 bricks of these decks. So far, 3 whole people have pledged for that. And you're allowed to take a selfie and be part of the cardistry community on the tuck case. $500 or more, there's only 1 pledge. Nobody's backed for it. $1,000, nobody's pledged for that. That's a whole freaking gross of decks. I don't think any reseller really wants these decks anyways. This is the Joker, by the way. It's a skateboard cutout, which is... He even says it's useless. Jokers are useless. No, I'm sorry. Jokers are not useless. You can perhaps use them in a game of cards as like a wild card. You can use them for magic tricks, for sandwich effects and stuff like that. Jokers are not useless. Maybe to cardistry they're useless, but to make them even more useless like you have is utter crap and laziness. This is a useless Joker only because you made it useless. So to say a Joker is useless is wrong. The Joker you have created is in fact useless, but that's only because you made it useless. But anyways, fact of the matter is I'm not a big fan of this project. Apparently also the $55 and $100 pledges now include the selfie perk because nobody wants to spend $200. But I don't agree with it. And what if you get too many people pledging $55? Not going to happen at this rate, but I mean, I don't know. I'm personally tired of every single cardist trying to create their own deck of cards. It gets ridiculous. But let's move on to a much better deck, the Indictus playing cards, which is already funded and has 9 days left. Apparently only like a 15-day project. This is from Nikolai Aero, or however you pronounce that. I apologize, I butcher it all the time. 2 decks, gold foiled, metallic inks on the backs. Deluxe decks of dark philosophy and mysticism, inspired by Macbeth, and apparently the first in a series as well. 3 stretch goals already reached. Here's the decks, very nice. There's the Pristine Edition, which is going to have 1,400 produced. And the Antique Edition, which will also have 1,400 produced. And they have a kind of a weathered look to them, obviously. And black borders. You can see the differences there. They're both very nice, as you can see. Well illustrated, nicely done. By the way, the other ready set deck, as I mentioned, it probably standard faces. Who gives a crap? They don't even bother to do anything with the Joker or the Aces, from what we can tell. But this one is a hell of a lot better. Highly recommend checking it out. Cool little Jokers and everything. Little pouches you can add on. Stretch goals. And yeah, I like it. I'm trying to find out who's printing it. Oh yes, they're going to be printed by NPCC, More Arts, whose quality seems to be getting better and better, but we'll see with the next deck that I'm awaiting from them. Then we got cards, playing card simulator, basically virtual cards. $30,000 goal, not a chance in hell it's going to fund, but I figured I'd mention it anyways because it's basically virtual playing cards. 6% funded, 3% funded. 26 days to go. Like I said, chance of happening, not good, but I think it's an interesting idea. They even have a cost breakdown. 13% of their cost will be taxes. Don't know how that works out. You pay taxes on Kickstarter projects. That's because they're Canadian. 10% Kickstarter and payment processing. 41% programming. 26% graphics and 10% sounds. That's the costs. Let's move on. Double collection playing cards from Double Cards. They don't even list it as playing cards in the title. Modern War playing cards. I don't see this having much appeal for card collectors. It has some appeal for people who like hot babes. Definitely not much appeal for anyone who's into war-themed playing cards with that. The back design is not very good. It's just a star, one-way back design. Borderless. The faces, not overly exciting. They're just army people, apparently. Printed by, I don't know. But it's being fulfilled by Sky Nerd Studios, aka Landry Sanders, who's been promoting it. But I have no idea who's producing these cards. That does not help sell the product. Currently, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. It's 6% funded, 24 days to go. I'm sure the art has something to do with it, or lack thereof, really. It's just pictures, basically. Moving along. I was going to mention this one, I don't think I did. Alert playing cards from Playing Cards.net, well funded. They do have a third deck that's going to be unlocked once they hit $40,000. They're at almost $35,000 right now, which is a Cobalt edition. They got Copper and Amethyst. A Cobalt edition is going to be unlocked. That's going to have this Iridescent foil. I think that's what it's called. Iridescent foil on both the backs and the faces of the cards. It's an industry first. I'm guessing it's going to be pretty limited and quite expensive. But we'll see what happens in the next few days, if they hit the goal or not. A few more decks to talk about. First of all, Black Tycoon is now available for Tier 11, although for some reason they have not begun shipping them yet. At least mine are still in the packaging process. I don't know how long that takes or why it takes so long. But they're very nice and completely custom. Well, I mean, as far as this being completely custom, it's still custom. It is completely custom. Very nice. I like them. Recommend them. And then there's this from Dan and Dave, a tribute to Vernon, which is not very good. I was waiting with anticipation for a couple of days for this release. I thought it was going to be just a deck of cards. Then, after seeing it a bit and thinking about it a bit, I realized something. This is going to be like the Aristocrats they did. A brand new, shiny tuck case with the old expert at the card table decks. And it is. But it's more than that. Yeah, it's limited to 500, but it's $52. And it's not just a deck of cards. You also get this uncut sheet that has Vernon's image on it, Die Vernon that is. You get, some kind of a card about the piece. You get an uncut sheet, like I mentioned. And you get this card that has a facsimile signature. Basically, it's a fake signature. It's a photocopied signature. Wow. So for $52, I would be getting a deck of cards, which is an old deck in a new tuck case. I would be getting an uncut sheet that I have no use for and that I don't want. A museum grade placard, letter pressed and fit for a gallery, it says. A playing card featuring a photocopy of Vernon's signature and his age-old mantra of be natural. And all for $52 plus who knows how much shipping. Apparently there's a limit of 4 per person. But to me, I'm unimpressed and disappointed, and I felt a little bit misled because for days they were promoting so many images of a deck of cards. We thought it was going to be a brand new deck of cards. We thought it was going to blow Illusionist's SWE deck out of the water. Turns out it's basically crap, and I do not recommend it. Unless you want a fake photocopied signature, an old deck in a new tuck case. And by the way, in the grand scheme of things, this is all about Dan and Dave selling 500 old decks that they haven't been able to sell, that they're sitting on. That's all it is. But let's move on. I wanted to mention this one, the romantic playing cards that were NPC branded. They have been canceled. It's pretty weird circumstances from Timothy Kremer. It says they're canceled. They had achieved the funding goal. They were close to funding. Apparently it was canceled 5 days ago. It says that they have a small crisis and they collected very few decks. I don't know what that means. They collected very few decks from what? So they decided to suspend the project, but apparently they're coming back with a relaunch later on once they've modified it. I think maybe one of the problems is some of the artwork seems to be a blatant rip-off of the artwork on the Anne Stokes deck. And if you look for it, you will see that. Some of it. Not all of it, obviously. But, and that's not good. You cannot copy artwork from the Anne Stokes deck and use it for yourself. Literally. It's kind of what they did. And I was never a big fan of these anyways, of faces. Especially this. And the back's even worse. But they're not awful or anything like that. They're overly bad, but they could have been much better. I also don't understand, the comments they made. But personally, I think this is a horrible thing to do. You're funded, you got a bunch of backers, and then you cancel with limited information on why and weird information. And they're going to have a difficult time, I think, getting some of those backers back. Also, I want to mention this. This has been found at Walgreens. It's a bicycle-branded Disney deck featuring vintage movie posters on their faces. If anyone can find one for me, I'll be more than happy to take one. By the way, apparently they also have a Chris Angel Baroque deck printed in China available. This Year of the Goat, Year of the Sheep, whatever, deck of cards, the Kung Hai Fat Choi, which I got a few months ago, is now available on Gambler's Warehouse, eBay, and apparently less than $7 with shipping included, US, which is a pretty good deal. They were from some casino, Star Casino or something like that. They're pretty cool. Standard faces, but it's pretty good for what it is. So I thought I'd mention that. Also coming soon from from DeVoe, I should say, from World Card Experts, is a blue bicycle cardistry deck. Apparently it's going to be cheap. $5.99 for everyone, $4.99 for VIP members. That's a pretty good deal, although shipping will cost like $20, I'm guessing. It's not overly surprising considering we saw this blue card in the red deck. But it is what it is. One more little thing to mention. Sleepy Hollow playing cards apparently coming soon from Derek McGee. I believe he's the one behind Pure Imagination Projects. Nice back design, coming in time for Halloween, shipping this October. Created in France by J.C. Deserve, who apparently created the Medallions deck for 311. So far we haven't seen any faces. Based on the previous decks from Derek McGee and Pure Imagination Projects, and based on the Medallions, I'm guessing it's going to have fairly standard faces, which is highly disappointing for the type of deck it is. And hopefully I'm wrong. But anyways, that is that. That's what I got for today. I will see you next time. Happy anniversary. See ya.